The British tycoon Sir Richard Branson has unveiled what he says is the world's first manned commercial spaceship. If all goes according to plan, it will start ferrying passengers for 3-hour joy flights into space 2 years from now. Sir Richard Branson hopes it'll be the first step in making space travel accessible for everyone, but the price tag is still very steep. Timothy MacDonald reports.
It's been dubbed the Enterprise in a nod to both the private sector and to Star Trek. It won't be able to travel at warp speed like its fictitious namesake, but Virgin Galactic founder Richard Branson says its performance will be impressive nonetheless.
The ignition will take place and you go from 0 to 2,500 miles an hour in 10 seconds.
Space has usually been reserved for a select few. Dogs, cats, rhesus monkeys and even a very brave tortoise have made the trip, but among humans it's mainly been professionals with some kind of scientific or aeronautical expertise. In fact, all of the world's space programs put together have only put about 500 people into space. Richard Branson hopes to change all that.
We want this program to be the beginning of a whole new commercial era for space travel. If we get this right, we believe there are literally millions of people who'd like to go into space.
To date, only a handful of tourists have made the trip aboard a Russian spacecraft, and each shelled out millions for the privilege. Virgin Galactic is a little more affordable. With $200,000, you could buy 100 tickets to travel around the world, or just one to travel out of it. Melbourne businessman Ruslan Kogan will be one of the first in line.
As a little kid, I'd be always saying, I want to be an astronaut, until you sort of, you get to 8, 9 or 10 and you realise, all right, it's not going to happen. And then a few years ago, Richard Branson told me once again, it will. So, you no longer have to dedicate your whole life to space science and things like that in order to do it. And, it's going to be awesome.
Mr. Kogan was at the launch today and says he was impressed when they rolled out the Enterprise.
It was a little bit surreal, to tell you the truth. I've spent so much time looking at it in videos online and different animations and drawings and things like that. That when they rolled out the real thing, it was all a little bit surreal. The spacecraft looks awesome.
Ruslan Kogan isn't the only Australian who signed up. Penny Spencer is the managing director of a travel agency that sells tickets for the Virgin space flights. She says one customer has already paid up and many others have expressed interest.
Yeah, we probably get at least one inquiry a week. We haven't had any other deposits put down, but I think a lot of that is due to people waiting to see when it's going to happen, and we've got definitely quite a few keen people.
Penny Spencer says the costs will come down, and maybe one day going to space will be as commonplace and as easy as buying a low-cost air ticket between major cities. But she says it'll be some time before that happens.
Timothy MacDonald.